Sawadee and happy Monday, everyone. It's Natty from the Thaiger, and you're watching Thailand Top Stories. Today's major news in Thailand and around the region. Stay tuned for a quick update on the COVID-19 situation here in Thailand, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. With health officials continuing to report a trend of COVID-19 transmissions linked to entertainment venues throughout Thailand, the CCSA has confirmed pushing back the reopening of bars and nightlife venues in Thailand to January 15th of next year. Alcohol sales are currently only allowed officially at restaurants in 4 provinces that are classified as blue zones. That includes Bangkok, Krabi, Phang Nga, and Phuket. The decision to postpone the reopening date for nightclubs, bars, and karaoke venues from the initial date of December 1st was to give related agencies more time to prepare and evaluate the situation. The new tentative date for the reopening is January 16, 2022. However, the reopening could be changed depending on the situation, they say. Despite the current ban, many bars and clubs have been openly flouting authorities, and a lively night scene is already apparent in some of the tourist hotspots. Don't tell anyone. Phuket is experiencing a steady rise in arriving visitors, both international and domestic. The president of the Phuket Tourism Council says that the welcome doubling of tourists since the reopening 2 weeks ago has brought tourists from Germany, the UK, and Scandinavian countries, as well as Thai people, both returning home and also heading to the southern island for a break. He predicts that the influx of tourists will continue to grow as the government continues to gradually loosen regulations for entry and COVID-19 restrictions, with bigger numbers in December and beyond. The sandbox scheme that required a soft quarantine where travelers could roam the island but not leave it for 14 days, later reduced to 7 days, attracted an average of about 500 to 600 travelers per day. The new relaxed test and go scheme that only requires an overnight stay of quarantine until COVID test results are returned saw arrivals jump to around 1,000 a day. On top of increasing international travelers, Phuket has seen a sizable uptick in domestic tourism, with over 30 flights landing on the island each day, plus an estimated 10,000 or so arriving at the Northern Road checkpoint daily. Despite a court ruling intended to stifle calls for royal reform in Thailand, protesters gathered over the weekend to continue their push for change, slamming the constitutional court judgment that labeled their movement as an attempt to overthrow the monarchy. The protest follows last Wednesday's verdict that deemed 3 prominent protest leaders guilty of violating the constitution through speeches made during last year. Protesters shouted chants, saying that the ruling was an attempt to reinstate absolute monarchy, which ended in 1932 for Thailand. Things became heated when protesters started marching from the Pathum 1 intersection to the German embassy to submit a petition. His Majesty the King spends time each year in Bavaria. A huge haul of 6 million methamphetamine pills seized over the weekend, and a suspected drug courier killed in an exchange of fire with drug police in far north Chiang Mai over the weekend. A Toyota Vigo pickup broke through a drug checkpoint, defying signals for it to stop a search. Soldiers gave chase in a patrol vehicle, and the pickup skidded off the road near the border, and the driver, while trying to escape, opened fire at the soldiers in pursuit. He was shot dead in a brief exchange of fire. Soldiers found 30 bags each containing 200,000 methamphetamine pills, or 6 million in total, a semi-automatic gun with 2 magazines, and some ammunition and a mobile phone. Regionally, Vaccinated Singapore residents will still be able to travel without quarantine to 7 of 8 European countries that have vaccinated travel lanes with the island state. Italy, France, Germany, Spain, Switzerland, the Netherlands, and Britain have yet to reimpose compulsory quarantine on travelers from Singapore, despite the EU raising its COVID-19 risk assessment of Singapore last week. Finland and Sweden, 2 other European countries that will start vaccinated travel lanes with Singapore from the end of this month, have also not yet introduced quarantine curbs on travelers from Singapore. This leaves Denmark as the only VTL country to have reimposed quarantine restrictions. Malaysian couples who tied the knot in Thailand before 2005 and have yet to register their marriage in the Kelantan state bordering Thailand are now allowed to by the state religious authority. The offer, which is being made by the State Islamic Affairs and Religious Department, is open to all Malaysian couples, including those with a stateless child or children. The department has introduced a legislation program to encourage such couples to register their marriages. Long-running border issues between Thailand and Malaysia have complicated arrangements for the region, whilst a lot of cross-border trade and families remain in a state of flux. And now for a quick update on the COVID-19 situation here in Thailand. The CCSA has reported 6,343 new cases of COVID-19 with 45 new deaths. According to the latest reports, 7,663 have been released from care within the past 24 hours. And that wraps up the COVID-19 update. For more news on Thailand, go to thethaiger.com or check out our evening show, Thailand News Today. สวัสดีค่ะ